Hey folks, welcome back. In almost every video, I talk about how I'm trying to brand myself and this channel and what I do, and I have fallen on kind of this, I keep calling it dark apothecary, dark academia sort of vibe. It's not exactly what it is, but since I've started this journey, one thing that I have really wanted to do is create a shop sign. I would love to have one over the doors here at my shop at home, and I would love to have one that I could take with me when I go do markets or shows or whatever. As you've seen in the intro of some of the videos, I have kind of settled on this design with the raven in the middle, and I think that's what I want to create today. Now, ideally, I would love for this to be made out of wood. I would love for it to be carved beautifully and painted in gold leaf, all of that jazz, but homegirl is not at that place yet. So instead, what I'm gonna do today, and I only have one day for this, I'm gonna make it out of foam. So my local home improvement store sells these 2x2 sheets of 1-inch insulating foam. You can get these in 4x8 foot sheets, but I don't have any way to get that home. Plus, I'm not doing a sign that's gonna be that big. So I bought a couple of these. I think they were only like $4 or $5 a piece. I'm gonna take the design of that raven and some of the filigree around it, and I'm gonna carve into this foam board. My thought is I'm gonna use my Dremel, and it's got a rotary attachment for it. I don't really have rotary bits, but we're gonna make do with whatever I've got and see how it works. I may have to go out and buy something if this doesn't work the way I want it to. I'm going to trace this design using my projector, just like I did with the wall, and then I'm gonna carve it out with my Dremel. I'm gonna paint it the same color as the wall. I'm going to paint the design that like coppery gold color, and then I'm gonna hang it on the front of my building. That's my plan, and I have one day to do this. So without too much more talking, let's get on with step number one, tracing this onto the board. That transition never gets old for me.
So once I had the design traced mostly onto the foam, I had to experiment with a few different bits for the Dremel, and I started with a leather buffer. This is a leather buffer, don't think anything else. Once that inevitably failed, I moved on to a stone grinder bit, and it was a little bit better, but it wasn't great.
So real quick, this little bit that I have, it's doing exactly what I thought it was going to. It's going in, but it's not carving out like I would want with a router bit. But that's what I've got right now, and I think it'll work. I just need to refine the pressure part of it. And if it bothers me too much, I'll go out and I'll buy one that's a little bit more shallow. However, it is carving it, and for the most part, it's pretty easy to handle. So I think it's gonna work. It also goes pretty quick, but getting used to handling it is going to be kind of the learning curve here. I will say that I have this set so that the end of this is just barely coming out of the guard. It's hard to see it, but it is maybe 1/8 of an inch out, maybe. And that's good because it keeps it from going too far in. I don't need this to cut all the way through the foam. So I am just gonna crack at it. I'm just gonna try to get the raven done and whatever filigree I've already filled out, and then see how that looks, because then I'll need to do the bottom part as well. Fingers crossed that this does what I want it to do, because I need a win this weekend. This weekend has been a weekend of no wins for Katie Ford. So keep your fingers crossed for me. Okay, I have found the correct bit. It's a metal bit rather than a stone grinding bit, so it's working a lot better. And what I'm finding is that what I did with the stone bit is just not what I want. So before I get too far into it and waste more time, I think what I'm gonna do is start over. I think I can even start over with the back of this so I don't have to use another sheet of foam. So I'm gonna go over, I'm gonna trace I'm gonna trace the raven and some of the filigree. You're probably saying, trace all the filigree at the same time. Yeah, I know I should do that, but I'm not going to because I have to sit on the floor and it takes a long time to do that. But I think I know kind of what I'm doing now. So I feel like I'm in a better spot. I'll be back with the design and hopefully this will work. I know I keep saying that, but like I said, homegirl needs a win this weekend because I'm feeling a little low. So I have the whole outline carved out. I do need to go in and carve a little deeper some of the gold areas so that the black accents stick out a little bit more. So I'm gonna go do that, and then I'm gonna lay down a base coat of black, let it dry, do a second coat, and then go in and get the gold put in. This went a lot faster than I thought it was going to. Even with the trial and error part of it, I have made it, I think, a movie and a half. So I made it through all of Nightmare Before Christmas and now I'm about halfway through Tangled. If that gives you any idea how long this takes. A couple pieces of advice that I've learned: use a Sharpie to go over your tracing, whether you're projecting it on here or just drawing it out. Use a Sharpie. There's no need to try to like score it into the styrofoam. That wasted a bunch of time. That's the big one right now. So yeah, the next step is get these gold areas flattened out a little bit more and then paint it black. So I have 2 coats of paint on the sign and I'm letting that dry. And then next what I'll do is I'll get the gold inside all of the cutouts that I've made. The other thing I need to think about is how I'm gonna hang this up outside. It has to be sort of wind resistant. It has to be sort of weather resistant. So everything that I've read about hanging Halloween decorations or Christmas decorations on your house has been use command hooks. So I think I have command hooks somewhere in my house. I'm not sure where. But what I want to do is I have this old piece of molding that we took out of our house. So I'm gonna cut this in half so it'll be 18-inch strips, and I'm gonna mount one towards the top of the sign and one at the bottom. And then I think the one at the top I'm going to put hooks or eyes on. That way it will hang on the command hooks. And it provides just a little bit of structural support to the foam. I don't think it's gonna waver a whole lot, but just in case, it'll have a little bit of rigidity behind it. I'll come back when it's time to put the gold in there. We are all dry, and now it's time to really make it pop. We're just gonna use some regular gold acrylic. It's probably a mistake, but my plan is to seal this so that it'll be somewhat weatherproof. So hopefully this will be okay. But I'm going with bright gold so that you can really see it. I would prefer more of a muted gold, but it needs to be seen from a distance. So bright gold it is. Ready or not, here we go.
While this part was certainly the most satisfying, I did have to go in and clean up some of the edges before hanging my command hooks, but it was finally ready for me to show you the reveal.
While this didn't turn out exactly the way I had expected it to, it turned out as cleanly as my prep work was going to allow it to turn out. I would say probably the biggest thing that I want to correct before the next time, and I will be making one again, is the texture of the insides of the lines. I didn't have the right Dremel bits to get a really smooth finish on the inside, and that made the painting look kind of bad. Between the time I made the main design and the lines at the bottom, I actually picked up a couple of extra bits at Harbor Freight for about $4, and those I think will help make a cleaner inside line. So I will absolutely be making another one of these. And honestly, this didn't take that long. Once I got the practice out of the way, I think the whole thing probably took 5 hours. There are some things I can do to even reduce that time. If I use spray paint to put the base layer down rather than hand painting it, A, it'll be a lot smoother finish because it'll be a little bit more even, and B, it'll dry faster. Also, I can use exterior paint, which I didn't use this time, to help it dry and make it a little more color fast when it's outside. But all in all, for a faux wooden shop sign, I think it's pretty awesome, and it weighs nothing. So I could hang it up with those command hooks outside. I'm stoked. This is another one of those skills that I never expected to want to learn, but now that I know about it, I can use it for a lot of different things. So hopefully you found this at least interesting, if not a little bit informative, maybe, maybe not. If you are interested in the design part of it, or if you're interested in the design I used for my mural wall, which a couple folks have asked about, head on over to my Ko-fi page. I have the patterns available over there for just like $1. And it saves you time on having to think about a design. Pick it up for $1 and use it however you want to use it. I also have some leather bag patterns. I have some kits over there if you're interested. And if you just want to support the channel, you can head over there, and for $2 a month, I give you behind the scenes sneak peeks of what I'm doing, as well as ask your opinion on things that are coming up. If you do, great, and if you don't, also great. I don't really mind either way. I am just so appreciative of these folks who have already taken the leap. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more of it, hit the subscribe button and give this video a like, because I think this one was pretty dang cool. I'm actually really excited about this. I do have a big project coming up, so I will probably have to take the next weekend off to work on it a little bit more. Stay tuned because Halloween continues. Regardless, I will see you guys next time. Bye. And don't forget to look at when I hit myself in the nose. That was pretty fun. I probably shouldn't do transitions.